Hey everyone, here's a video to help you all get ready for the Unit 2 test. So the Unit 2 test covers converting quadratic equations from one form into another form. We're going to first practice by converting things from factored form into standard form. So let's begin with this example. Let's start with something like x plus 2, x plus 4. All right, so we've got it in factored form. Let's turn it into standard form. First of all, let's visualize what we've got here. We've got something that's x plus 2 wide and x plus 4 tall. And let me just write these dimensions in here real quick. So this whole length is x plus 4, and the whole width here is x plus 2. So when I do x plus 2 times x plus 4, what I'm going to get from this is x squared plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6x plus 8. Now, obviously, there's a faster way of doing this besides drawing the picture. What you're really doing is let me change colors here. That 2 and the 4. You are adding them up, and 2 plus 4 is 6. And then when you multiply them, 2 times 4, that's going to be 2 times 4, that's going to be 8. Okay, so you can do these actually really fast. If you have something like x plus 1, x plus 7, you first start right x squared. 1 plus 7 is 8. 7 times 1 is 7. Now this whole thing works even if you have some negatives. So x minus 2, x plus 6. I first start by writing x squared. Then I'm thinking, what's negative 2 plus 6? Negative 2 plus 6 is 4. What's negative 2 times 6? That's negative 12, and that's your answer. Okay, this is your question right here. Solve this one. Turn this equation into standard form. Great. Now, there's a next level here we can take this where I have something that has a number in front of it. Let me clear this off. Okay, so let's say I have a 3 in front of it. X minus 2, x plus 5. The thing to do here is to ignore the 3 for a second, and we're just going to deal with this part first. So I'm going to copy down the 3, and then I'm going to write my x squared. I have a negative 2 and a positive 5. Negative 2 plus 5, let's write that out. Negative 2 plus 5 is a positive 3. And then negative 2 times 5 is a negative 10. Close that up. Now I've got to use the distributive property, and so we're going to do that. That's going to hit that term, and that term. And if we use the distributive property, that's going to give us our answer, 3x squared. 3 times 3 is 9x. 3 times negative 10, negative 30. And so that's where we get our answer. Okay, let me give you one to practice on. Let's do this one. Let's do 5x plus 2x minus 4. Okay, so go ahead and solve that. Okay, new skill. Now we're going to go from the opposite way. We're going to go from something in standard form and put it into factored form. So let's start with x squared plus 7x plus 10. We're going to turn that into a factored form, so it's something like that. And so at x, now we want a number here and a number here that when I add them up, I get a 7, and when I multiply them, I get a 10. So the best way to do this is to first look at the possibilities that multiply to be 10. So I'm going to write the number 10, make a little table here. To get 10, I can do a 1 and a 10, or a 2 and a 5. And I'm looking for a combo that adds to be 7, and 2 and 5 add to be 7. So I'm going to put a 2 here and a 5 there, and that's my final answer. Okay, let me give you one to work on. Let's do this one. X squared plus 6x plus 8. Go solve that out. Great. So we should have gotten x plus 2, x plus 4, because 2 plus 4 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, let's do something with a negative in it. X squared plus 5x minus 14. The same process applies here. I'm going to make a list of all the numbers that multiply to be negative 14. We've got 1 and negative 14. We've got 2 and negative 7. Let's just flip those around, change the signs around, 14, 7. So I'm looking for a combination that adds up to be 5. That's not going to work. 2 minus 7 is negative 5. That's not going to work. And that's my combination. X minus 2, x plus 7, and we're good. Now you can check your answer. X times x squared, x times 7, 7x underneath now, minus 2x, and minus 14. So x squared plus, combining like terms, 5x minus 14, and you get back to your original question right there. Okay, here's one for you to try with a negative in it. Let's do x squared minus 5x minus 14. Okay, so for this one, you're going to do the opposite of what I just did. And if you do a minus 7 and a positive 2, negative 7 plus 2 is negative 5x. Multiply them, you get the negative 14. Okay, let's do another type of question here. These ones are called, well, let's just write it out and see what we got. So we've got 3x squared plus 16x plus 5. And we're looking for some numbers in parentheses that are going to multiply out to be like that. So for this one, the first thing you look at is there a number that goes into 3, 16, and 5? And there isn't. So now I've got to go do something called the AC method. The very first step, we're going to do 3 times 5. This is A. This is A, B, C. So we're going to do A times C. All right, so the first number A times the last number C, that's going to give us 15. All right, and now I'm going to make a list of all the numbers that multiply to be 15. I got 1 and 15, I got 3 and 5, and that's basically it. Next step, I'm looking for a combination that adds up to be the middle number B, and 1 and 15 add up to be B, so I'm going to rewrite this now. I'm going to break up that middle term as 3x squared plus 1x plus 15x plus 5. And now I've got to look at these and see what they have in common. Let me just break these up a little bit. 3x squared is 3xx. 1x is 1 times x. 15x is 3 times 5 times x. And 5 is just 5. I'm going to write 5 times 1 just for fun. All right, so I'm looking through here and saying, hey, what do each of these have in common? Let me circle them in green. So this one has an x, and this one has an x. And so I'm going to write the letter x on the outside. On the inside, I'm going to put the leftovers. So 3 is a leftover, 3x is a leftover, plus that 1 is a leftover. Okay, now I'm going to look over at my other pair here. I've got a 5 and a 5. So they have a 5 in common. And now let's write the leftovers. The leftovers are going to be 3x plus 1. Okay, so now here's the cool part. I now have this factor and this factor. Now, just like before, I'm looking at what do these two factors have in common, and the thing they both have in common is the number 3x plus 1, the factor 3x plus 1. And just like before, how we put the leftovers in the parentheses, we're going to put the leftovers in the parentheses right here. And now I've got that factor. It is 3x plus 1, x plus 5. Let's go back and check and make sure we did that right. If I want to check here, let's do this. So 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 5 is 15x. Now let's go underneath. This is 1x, and finally, this is 5. So I have 3x squared plus, combining the like terms, I've got 16x plus 5. Okay, so let me give you a question to practice on this. Go ahead and give this one a try. 2n squared plus 3n minus 9. Okay, let's go over the answer real quick. 2 times negative 9, negative 18, making my list. Negative 1 and 18, negative 2 and 9, negative 3 and 6. And I could keep on going, but I already see my combo, negative 3 and 6. 2n squared minus 3n plus 6n minus 9. Factoring each pair separately. These guys share an n in common, 2n minus 3. These share an n in common, 2n minus 3. I get the same thing in both of those. That's a very good sign. I'm gonna write my common factor there, and the leftovers are gonna go inside my parentheses. Finally, let's check. 2n times n, 2n squared. Negative 3 times 3, negative 9. Now for the middle term, let's check this. That's negative 3n. This is gonna be 6n. 6n minus 3n gives me my positive 3n. Okay, so we've talked about converting from factored into standard, from standard into factored. Now we're going to talk about converting between standard and vertex form. Okay, so if I've got something like this, x squared plus 6x plus 11, and I want to turn this into vertex form, then let's look at this kind of geometrically first. Let's draw a picture here. We have an x squared, and we have 6 x's. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put 3 of them on that direction, 3 of them along this direction. So I have x squared, I have 6x, and now we're going to put 11 here. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 2 of them don't fit. Well, let's look at this shape that I have. I've got this one shape right here, and this shape is x plus 3 wide. And it is x plus 3 tall. And so that shape is x plus 3 squared. And I've got those 2 that didn't fit into it. So that turns into x plus 3 squared plus 2. Now, let's do this with the algebra method. The algebra method goes like this. I'm going to write a parentheses, I write x, and now I'm going to take half of 6. So half of that number, half of 6 is 3. Now, why am I taking half of 6? Because I had 6, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 there, and 1, 2, 3 there. So half in one direction, half in the other direction. Plus, I'm going to bring down the 11, and I'm going to subtract that number squared. Now, why am I squaring that number? Because this is 3 in that direction. This is 3 in that direction. 3 times 3 gives me 9. So inside this thing, inside that box, I can fit 9 dots. 11 take away 9 means that I have 2 that don't fit in. Okay, so that's a lot of talking. Let me do another example here with a little bit less talking. Let's say I've got something like this. X squared plus 8x plus 15. Half of 8 is 4. Bring down the 15, subtract 4 squared, and I end up with x plus 4 squared minus 1. It's really that easy. Let me give you one to try on your own now. Let's say we've got x squared plus 4x plus 1. Go ahead and do that right now. Great. So let's go over it. X plus half of 4 is 2. Close it. Bring down the 1, subtract that number squared, and I've got x plus 2 squared minus 3. Okay, let's go now and talk about something like this. What if I'm given something with negative 2x squared minus 12x plus 10, and I need to find the vertex for this equation? Okay, so for this guy, I've got to, first of all, take out that negative 2. So I'm going to write negative 2 on the side, And I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to divide each of these terms by -2, -2, -2, and I'm going to put them inside the parentheses. And what I'll get is x squared. -12 divided by -2 is a positive 6x. Positive 10 divided by -2 is -5. Now I'm just going to ignore that -2 on the outside for now, and I'm going to just work on the inside. I'm going to write a big bracket here, and write x plus half of 6 is 3, close it, square it, -5 minus that number squared, which is 9. Big brackets to close that off. Now, let's work inside the parentheses just to tidy up that last little bit. -5 minus 9 is going to be -14. Okay, almost done. The last step is I have to distribute that -2 across both of those terms. And when I do that, I end up with my final answer, -2 x plus 3 squared plus 28. Now that it's in vertex form, I can find the vertex really easily, right? If I wanted to find the vertex, it's going to be at -3, 28. So if I was to graph this, the vertex would be somewhere like that. Okay, let's go on and do a different type of thing. Let's say I had something in, oh, actually, let me give you a question to do on your own. So do this guy. So 3x squared plus 24x plus 51. Go ahead and convert that one now into vertex form. Okay, so yeah, let's do this really fast. Taking out a 3 from all of those terms. Half of 8 is 4. Bring down the 17 minus that number squared. 3x plus 4 squared plus 1. Last thing, we're going to hit both of those. 3x plus 4 squared plus 3. And that's it. That's how you solve it. Okay, so now we're going to do the opposite direction. We're going to take something in vertex form, something that's already in vertex form, and turn it into standard form. Now, when would you want it to be in standard form? It would be if you wanted to find the y-intercept, then you'd want to put it in standard form. Or if you want to put it into factored form, then it's easiest to put it into standard form first and then factor it. So let's go through this guy. X plus 4 squared plus 1. Well, x plus 4 squared means we're going to write x plus 4, and this is going to be x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16, and don't forget that plus 1. That's going to come down. So I got x squared plus 8x plus 17. Now, if it's helpful, let me draw a picture of what that really is. X plus 4 squared plus 1 is really this kind of thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1. So x plus 4 squared is this shape that is x plus 4 by x plus 4. And if I break apart the shape, I have an x squared. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 x's. And I have 16 plus 1, I have 17. So if that helps you, that's what we're doing when we use the FOIL method. Okay, let me give you one to try. Try doing this guy. X minus 3 squared minus 2. Great. So we expand that out. It's going to give us x squared minus 6x plus 9 minus 2. X squared minus 6x plus 7. And that's it. All right. Let's go and do this one. Let's suppose I've got something obnoxious in front of it, like a -2. X minus 1 squared minus 2. What this is you can't distribute that -2 in. Don't do that, that's bad. You can't distribute that in first. The reason why is because this is -2 times x minus 1, x minus 1. So the -2 could only hit one of those things. If I distributed it in at first, it would be doubling itself up. So just remember, ignore the -2 for a while, just leave it on the outside, and then we'll deal with it here in a second. But first, let's work on that stuff inside there first. X minus 1, that's going to turn into x squared minus 2x plus 1. How does that work? Let me draw a picture. We have an x squared minus x, that's minus 2x plus 1. You could also use the FOIL method here if you wanted to and do x squared, and then you're going to get the minus or positive 1, and this is going to give you minus x. This is going to give you minus x. That's where the minus 2x comes from. All right, in any event, we've got x squared minus 2x plus 1. Can't forget that minus 2 there. Now we've got to distribute. Negative 2x squared plus 4x minus 2 is going to be negative 2x squared plus 4x minus 4. And now we've got that into standard form. And if it's in standard form, it's really helpful, or it's really easy to find my y-intercept of -4. Okay, this question, let's turn this guy into standard form. So we've got 3 parentheses x plus 4 squared plus 1. All right, so we got 3x squared plus 8x plus 16 plus 1. And then distribute, 3x squared plus 24x plus 48 plus 1, 3x squared plus 24x plus 49. Okay, let's now, we've converted from factored into standard, standard to factored, vertex into standard, standard into vertex. The last thing we're going to do is just a couple other questions here that they're going to ask is if you have something in, let's do this. If you have something that is in this kind of form, we have these complete the square questions. X squared plus 10x plus what? What completes that square? So think about it this way. X squared, I have 10 x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the number that would fit in here is 5 by 5, 25. So what you're doing is you're doing half of this number is 5, and then you're squaring it up to 25. Okay, let me do another one super fast. X squared plus 12x plus blank. Half of 12 is 6, squared up to 36. Now, if I wanted to write this as a trinomial or a factored form of the trinomial, I'd write x plus 6 squared. That's it. It's just half of that number. Okay, this one. Okay, go ahead and write this guy. X squared minus 8x plus what? Okay, so half of 4. And when we square it, positive 16. All right, let's go down and do a different type of question. Let's say I've got this thing, 3x squared plus 18x plus a blank. Well, right now, we're going to break up the 3x squared into 3 different x squareds, an x squared, an x squared, and an x squared. I've got 3 x squareds. Now my 18x's, I'm also going to divide up evenly between the 3 of them, 6x, 6x, 6x. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to zoom in to one question here and just ignore everything else. I've got x squared plus 6x, so the 6x looks like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what number will fill this in? This is a box that is 3 wide by 3 tall, so 9 would fit in there. So I need to fit 9 in that spot there. Okay, now let me zoom out. If I need 9 to fill that in, I need 9, 9, 9, 9, 27 is my missing number. Now let me just show you how to do this kind of algebraically here. What if I do it this way? 3x squared plus 18x plus blank. I'm going to divide everything by 3. Okay, I want to just get rid of that, divide everything by 3. So I got x squared plus 6x plus blank. Now I'm going to do half of 6 is 3. Then I'm going to square it and get 9. Finally, to finish my question off, I'm going to get 3 times 9, and that gives me the number 27. Okay, just like I got 27 here. So let me do another one here super fast, just to show you that you can do it fast without all my talking. Factoring to 10, so divide everything by 10. I've got x squared plus 2x. Half of 2 is 1. Square it is also 1. Distribute over, and that's 10. So my answer here would be 10. Okay, go ahead and do this question. Let's do 4x squared minus 40x plus blank. Okay, so you factor it out of 4, x squared minus 10x plus blank. Half of negative 10 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared is going to give you 25. And if I need 25 for one of these, then for 4 of them, I need 100. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is just finding the characteristics of a graph from the different forms. So if it's in standard form, like x squared plus 6x plus 8, then I can look at this and say, like, oh yeah, my y-intercept is 0, 8. So if I'm graphing this, I've got the point 1, I'll just call it that, 0, 8. Okay, now what if I wanted to find the graph's vertex? To find the vertex, this is where I need to turn it into vertex form. So to turn it into vertex form, what I'm doing, that's where I'm taking the half of 6 is 3 plus 8 minus that thing squared is 9. And so the vertex is going to be x plus 3 squared minus 1. And the vertex is where I flip the sign and make that a negative 3. And then this one just comes straight in, negative 1. So my vertex is going to be right here, negative 3, negative 1. Okay, now what if I wanted to find where the x-intercepts are? So let's turn this now into factored form. If I put this into factored form, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to be 8, that add to be 6. So 8, 1, and 8, 2, and 4. Aha, 2 and 4 will do it. X plus 2, x plus 4. The y-intercept is, or sorry, the x-intercept is where the y value is 0. So I'm looking for what number can I put here in place of x to make a 0. And if I were to put a negative 2 in there, that would make this a 0. Everything would be 0. So a negative 2 is going to be a y-intercept. And for the same reason, if I was to replace this with a negative 4 plus 4 is 0. And so I've got my y-intercepts at negative 2 and negative 4. And so this allows me to find a bunch of different features of my graph. And so it's going to look like that. Okay, so let's do the same example here. Let's do this one. Let's do x squared plus x minus 12. And I want you to find the y-intercept. Okay, easy. The y-intercept is 0, negative 12. Okay, now let's factor this. I'll help you out. I'll factor it for you. Factoring x plus 4, x minus 3. Okay, now that it's been factored, find the intercepts for that one. Okay, intercepts on this one are going to be negative 4, 0, and 3, 0. Okay, last one. Let's find where the vertex is. So I've got x squared plus 1x minus 12. This one's a little bit trickier. We're going to take half of 1, 0.5, minus 12 minus that thing squared, which is 0.25. So to finish it in vertex form, it's going to be x plus 0.5 squared minus 12.25. So what's the vertex on this? And that's right, vertex is negative 0.5. Remember to flip that sign, comma, negative 12.25. And we're done. Okay, guys, thanks for listening, answering the questions, and I'll see you in class. Bye.